Welcome to Wonderland, the podcast where I go down the rabbit hole to research things you may be curious about. My name is Amii, and I'll be your guide on this trip to Wonderland.
Hi, and welcome back. This week's episode is going to be a touch different, because if I'm being honest, I had a hard time wrangling my concept for this episode. And also, I've been very busy the last couple of weeks. So bear with me as we deviate from our usual format this week, while I invite you to join me for a couple of conversations I had with friends as we discussed different bar foods. For this week's episode, I spoke with Jenny.
Hi.
And Cheryl.
Hi.
Then I cornered Cheyenne.
Hey, now I want to go over there and find out.
And later, I caught up with the All About Nothing guys while they were preparing to record a new episode.
Come on now. We don't have to be like
Oh,
that.
them Panthers.
We can talk about the Titans. I mean, we can talk about the Vikings too.
Or, for my podcast, we can talk about bar food.
Yeah.
I wondered out loud with these guys, then started down the rabbit hole to answer our questions.
I wonder.
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 First, I asked each group to tell me some foods that they think of when they think of bar foods.
I'll bring you a little closer. Oh, there we go. I think you're close enough. All right, so we're going to talk about bar foods.
Yes.
When you think about going to a bar for something to eat with your beer or whatever you're getting at the bar, what are some of the main ones that come to mind?
Mozzarella sticks.
Wings.
Nachos.
Oh, and those, well, it's not a meal, but the peanuts or the pretzels or whatever that they have up there for everybody.
Fried pickles.
I love fried pickles.
Oh, yeah, this is good.
When you think of bar foods, what kind of foods do you think of?
Anything that can be quick, anything fried, anything that can easily be picked up with your hands. So like tater tots, boneless wings or regular wings, french fries, sliders, things like that.
All right, bar food.
What kind of foods can you get at a bar?
Mozzarella sticks.
Yes, definitely.
Peanuts for sure.
You can get wraps. I've seen a couple wraps.
Tater tots with buffalo on them. Those are good.
Or chili cheese fries.
Avocado, spinach, cheese dip.
Or wings.
Not avocado, artichoke.
But wings are hands down the best bar food.
That's a mighty gauntlet to throw, but
What, you
I
gonna put a
can't, I can't
hamburger?
argue
You
with
gonna
it.
put a hamburger in front of it?
There were a lot of bar foods named when I asked, but one of the foods that made all three lists was wings. With that, I'm going to take us down a little rabbit hole and discuss everyone's favorite bar food, buffalo wings. Before I do, though, let's hear a little more about what these guys thought the origins of buffalo wings might be.
When do you think chicken wings became a thing?
Gosh, I wish I could remember the date because I've actually been there and where the first ones were done, like Buffalo wings, but I don't remember the date. Let's say 1960s.
And where at?
Buffalo, New York.
You know the name of the place?
Don't remember.
I just went there when we were in Buffalo, so I do know the name of the place.
Oh, man.
But we'll talk about it a little more. What do you remember about the story or about?
I literally just remember that was where it started. I don't even remember the history.
And what makes it a buffalo wing, you think?
Maybe because that's where it is.
Okay.
That's where they are in Buffalo. That's where they came from.
And what qualifies buffalo wing as opposed to?
Jenny.
Hot sauce and butter.
Okay. All right. So you also talked about wings. When do you think chicken wings became a thing?
Man, chicken wings been around a while. I'm gonna go with the 80s again. If not before. I don't know. I just feel like in the 70s, a lot of people were hanging out at bars. I could be completely wrong. 'Cause of course, I wasn't alive back then.
Okay. So where do you think chicken wings were invented?
Ooh, good question. Definitely in the United States. I feel like us Americans made that up. But then again, people eat chicken in like India. I'm gonna stick with the United States. And I'm gonna stick with the southeastern United States.
Okay. I get it.
You get your wings. I agree with Trent that that's pretty
Staple.
Yeah, pretty good staple of it. Blue cheese, no ranch.
What is your problem? Why do you like chunky cheese? And
You got to do it like the good people from Buffalo intended.
All right. Let's talk a little more about that.
Buffalo, New York created the buffalo wing, the hot sauce everybody loves. It's intended to be used with blue cheese, not ranch.
That's not the story I tell people. The buffalo wings were created on a nuclear test plant or nuclear test site in New Mexico, where a herd of buffalo merged with a bunch of chickens, and then they got buffalo wings.
You're actually both wrong. Jessica Simpson told us
Oh.
that the buffalo had wings, and that's how you get buffalo wings.
You have to, but it is. You get buffalo. You can get your mild, your hot, your really hot. That's the beautiful thing about buffalo. It has the taste, but you can get different times of heat. But you have to do the blue cheese.
Why are they called buffalo wings?
Because they're from Buffalo, New York.
There's no buffalo.
Buffalo, New York.
But why is it called buffalo for everybody?
We all got to go to New York, Buffalo, New York, watch a Bills game and see how the Buffalo fans
I've had
do.
buffalo wings in Buffalo.
At a Buffalo's game?
No, but at a buffalo bar.
Yeah. Good?
Yeah, it was all right.
It wasn't the way everybody thinks it was, right?
That seems like one of the
It was a
places like
bar.
where's the original Buffalo
We
wing?
are talking about bar food here, right?
I'm assured there was no Michelin stars on the door.
But wait, hold on. Before we move on, we're gonna a little bit more on the buffalo wing because that is one of the things I want to talk about specifically, and it being founded at a bar in Buffalo.
Mhm.
It's the Buffalo name. Do you know the name of the bar or a wing?
I don't know. I would assume it would be. I would give it like the '60s maybe, and that's just throwing out a guess because they've been around for my lifetime. The year they were created.
Oh, well, if it's going to be a bar in the 60s or whatever, it's not going to have like a name that it would be like, whatever, like a standard name or whatever. It's going to be like
Tim's
Tim's Bar or something like that.
Maybe like a speakeasy? Is that the reason why? I think a speakeasy.
So we
probably
get
had the
Buffalo
first
wing
Back
one.
when Prohibition was affecting all the
Correct.
buffalo sauce.
Yeah. They couldn't get it in it. You know what I mean? You had to ship it in through cars and Cadillacs. And
No,
stuff like that.
I would say probably the '60s, just due to the fact that my parents are like Buffalo wings. No old people are really into like
Wings,
Buffalo.
right?
Yeah,
No, it's like a younger generation.
right. So
Well,
I don't think it's too old, but I think
kinda
it's
young.
older than it had to have that. It had to have that time to catch on.
Okay. All right.
So no, unfortunately, Trent, buffalo wings did not originate in a speakeasy during Prohibition. And Barrett's story about nuclear sites in New Mexico, while funny, isn't the origin either. Jessica Simpson can rest easy because they also don't come from any part of a buffalo.
I don't eat buffalo. Buffalo, idiot. Huh? Why are they called buffalo wings?
But for those who said that they originated at a bar in Buffalo, winner, winner, chicken wing dinner. The buffalo wing is an American style of chicken wing that is deep fried, then coated in a sauce consisting of exactly what Jenny guessed.
Jenny.
Hot sauce and butter?
A vinegar-based cayenne pepper hot sauce and butter. The beginnings of buffalo wings is up for some debate. The Anchor Bar in Buffalo states on their website and on their menu and all over the bar, which my family and I had the pleasure of visiting back in June, that these special wings were dreamt up on March 4th, 1964, when Dominic Bellissimo asked his mother to prepare something for his ravenous friends late that night. She deep-fried some chicken wings, usually reserved for stock for soup, and flavored them with her secret sauce, and served them the way Zach described them when he proclaimed
Blue cheese, no rain. You got to do it like the good people from Buffalo intended.
that they must be served with blue cheese. However, there's a very entertaining article written by Calvin Trilling for The New Yorker in 1980 that cites two additional and different origins to the birth of the chicken wing, both quoted by the Bellissimo family. They both agree that the family's matriarch, Teresa, was the mastermind behind the now world-renowned food, but why she made it is up for debate. In one instance, Frank Bellissimo, Dominic's father, indicates that the chicken wing was invented after he was delivered some chicken wings instead of backs and necks that he usually received to make spaghetti sauce. He urged his wife to find a more dignified use of the wings than the sauce, and she made them into hors d'oeuvres for the bar. In a different case, Dominic himself tells the story that the chicken wings were the result of wishing to treat a bar full of Roman Catholics one Friday night during Lent to a gratis treat after midnight, when they were then able to consume non-fish meat again, as a thank you for the amount of money that they were spending. He asked his mother to come up with something easy to pass around, and she came up with the now famous wings. But wait! Apparently, some people contest if it was even the Bellissimos at all who are owed our thanks for this messy, delicious bar food. There's a claim that an Alabama man by the name of John Young moved to Buffalo in 1948 and began serving uncut chicken wings that were breaded, deep-fried, and served in his special tomato-based mumbo sauce in his restaurant starting in 1961. To his merit, in 2013 at the National Buffalo Wing Festival, held in Buffalo, New York, naturally, John Young's contributions were acknowledged and he was inducted into the festival's National Buffalo Hall of Fame. So while we may not know who or why exactly, we do know where. Buffalo wings are a tasty treat brought to us from upstate New York. The next bar food that was mentioned by each group was bar nuts. Before we dig a rabbit hole to fill it with peanuts, let's hear what everyone had to say on the matter.
Let's see. Other food, you said peanuts.
Yeah, so just the little snacky stuff, that's at the bar. Not that you would order it necessarily.
But they just leave them out. Do they still do that? Do you go to any bars that have, nuts out? I know you can go to the store and buy that bar mix that comes in the thing, and it's got, green, I don't know, maybe they're peas or something?
We were talking about yesterday, and we both agreed it's nothing we would ever touch if it were in the bars now because of so many people's
I'd be real
grubby hands
surprised
in it.
if it still was a thing.
Yeah, I'd be surprised too.
I think Corona probably killed that dead if it was still...
Yeah.
If it was still...
Right, if there was
there are
any
no more
chance,
bowls of corn nuts or anything.
Yeah, that's the end of that.
So you said nuts is a bar food. Have you been to any bars that still have nuts? We were talking about it over there. Do you still see that out anywhere?
Actually, no.
You think COVID killed that?
It's either COVID and then the movies just made us believe that's what it's supposed to be, maybe. Because I don't know if I've ever actually seen a bar with
There's never been a bowl of nuts. Hey, have y'all ever seen nuts at the bar? Or only in TV on the movies?
No, I've seen nuts at the bar. It's been a while.
Cheryl?
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, that's what we were just discussing. She was like, I don't know if I've ever seen nuts or if the TV just convinced me it was a thing.
It's been a while, but I have seen them.
Okay. All right, you guys talked about peanuts. So peanuts being a bar food. And we actually had this conversation at work today.
Long live Jimmy Carter.
Five Guys has the best peanuts.
It's not a bar. Do you go to any bars that actually have bowls of nuts sitting out?
Not no more after COVID.
Not after COVID, right? But you can request a Hemingway's. You can get you some peanuts.
Correct.
They got a jar of them.
Okay, we were trying to decide if we've ever actually been to a bar where we've seen nuts sitting out, or if that's just something that's been on TV.
I mean, it's probably the nuts that you don't want to see, but it's probably.
It was definitely a thing.
Yeah, because they would have. It wouldn't just be the peanuts. It'd be the mix. It'd be the pretzels, the pumpernickel crisp, all that other.
Or the
stuff.
beer nuts. That was always
Yeah.
what they called them, was beer nuts.
And nobody ever serves cashews as just a nuts to have because it's very expensive.
Oh.
And that shows what kind of bar you have.
Yeah, and they're
if
not
you're
gonna
giving out
use this
cashews,
fast.
we're at the right spot.
Yeah, they give you the beer nuts. It's a low thing, but it keeps you busy, keeps you.
Look at this uppity bar with these almonds.
So why do you think that they give you nuts? Why do you think what's the purpose of nuts at the bar?
This is crazy.
I think that's the same.
It's salty, and what happens is it's salty, so you drink more. You keep asking for
Make
drinks.
you thirsty.
Dehydration.
Good
I see.
hypothesis. I
like
think that's
that.
probably a good one. I was thinking maybe it just gets your metabolism started to want some food after.
Beer nuts are a ubiquitous part of a stereotypical bar food, if there ever was one. Back in the 80s, sitcoms had nuts as part of the scenery, and even as part of the dialogue. Just ask Norm from Cheers.
Women, you can't live with them, pass the beer nuts.
It turns out that bar or pub mix, beer nuts, and, just nuts, are not actually different names for the same thing, so we're going to talk a little about all three. First, we're going to talk about nuts. Typically, these are plain old salted nuts, and Barrett was absolutely right when he said,
It's salty, so you drink more.
it sounds like salt's tendency to absorb water contributes to the idea that patrons will buy more beer because their mouths are dry and they will continue to order more drinks. Additionally, beer is often considered to have a bitter taste, which is balanced by a little bit of salt, making the beer seem smoother and easier to drink. It's no wonder that a bar would want to offer something that keeps their patrons drinking, and nuts are generally on the inexpensive side, allowing them to offer them to their guests at no cost. And while many bars will serve any kind of nuts, some specifically serve beer nuts, which it turns out is the name brand of a salty sweet nut. I stumbled across this fun video while researching this one. I'm going to play part of it here, but the full video will be linked on WTWLpod.com for you if you want to watch the whole thing.
Welcome to Beer Nuts. Come on in. First things first, how do they get the name Beer Nuts? We have to go back to the 1930s to answer that. Arlo Shirk and his father bought a small store called the Caramel Crisp Shop while Arlo was still in high school. With it came the recipes to the caramel corn, caramel apples, orange drink, and glazed redskins. That's what beer nuts were called back then. The shop was so successful it quickly expanded to include lunch and dinner and moved to a bigger location in downtown Bloomington. When Arlo died unexpectedly, his brother Russell returned from college to help manage the business. Russell was a stickler for quality and paid attention to how everything in the store was prepared and served. When not serving customers, the family was busy making Shirk's glazed nuts, beer nuts' second name. Everyone enjoyed a scoopful as they left the restaurant. Eldridge Brewster, a regular customer and supplier to the restaurant, kept after Russell to let him sell the nuts on his food distribution route. Initially, Russell was hesitant, but Brewster convinced him it was worth a shot. And he was right. The local taverns and liquor stores went nuts for the nuts. They started selling like mad. When was the name changed to Beer Nuts?
In 1953, when they changed the name to Beer Nuts, it was like people love to drink beer and peanuts. They got the salt on it, they're sweet. Beer and nuts, it kind of fit. It just kind of fit together.
By 1960, you could find Beer Nuts in just about every bar or tavern across America. Wait, there's no beer in Beer Nuts?
Nope, no beer in them. I get asked that question all the time. Beer really goes well with Beer Nuts, really well.
So, no beer in Beer Nuts. They just go great with beer. Bar or pub mix is another treat that goes well with beer and features things like pretzels, bagel chips, corn chips, and peanuts. There are a variety of brands offering slightly different ingredients in their bar or pub mix, but according to an amusing article touting itself as, quote, a definitive guide to a true and proper Midwestern pub mix, it should contain the following criteria. 1. There must be pretzels. 2. There should be peanuts, but no other nuts allowed. 3. There must be at least 2 crispy cracker-like elements. 4. There should be spices beyond the saltiness of the above-mentioned snacks. 5. No dried fruit. 6. No chocolate. And 7. A low enough price point that pubs can stock it as a snack. These salty snacks have long been a trope for bars and sitcoms.
No, it's Woody Allen. Did I mention that?
Yeah, we got it.
And I'm sitting there with Woody, and I turn to him and I go, boy, these pretzels are making me thirsty.
Is that how you're going to say it?
No, I'm working on it.
Do it like this. These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Oh, these pretzels are making me thirsty. No, see, that's no good. See, you don't know how to act.
These pretzels are making me thirsty. Oh, that was no good?
I didn't say anything.
But as we discussed, the rise of COVID-19 all but put an end to nuts out for general consumption at bars. Though it sounds like you may still be able to get your hands on them if you just ask for them. All three groups also said that fried food is a big part of what they consider to be bar food. Here's what they had to say about some of the fried food offerings.
So, it sounds like fried food.
Correct.
Yeah, fried food.
At a bar, yes.
You're already hurting your liver.
You
Go
don't
ahead
want
and fatten
baked
it up.
food at 2 o'clock in the morning.
No.
You don't want it to be baked.
Yeah, so if you were hammered and someone throws you like a piece of baked chicken, you're like,
Yeah, I'm not eating that.
Here's a cupcake.
Anything fried?
Did you guys talk about fried pickles or mozzarella sticks, or is that
We
another
did.
group?
I said mozzarella.
Mozzarella sticks.
Fried pickles, though,
Fried
that's
pickles
kind
is
of
good, too.
kind of new, though. That's kind of new to bars.
that gives you that bite that makes you want to drink more too.
Correct.
All right, let's see. You guys also mentioned mozzarella sticks.
Ooh, I like
My favorite.
All right. Not mine. We've discussed it.
It's not yours?
No, I choke on them.
Oh.
I know.
Yeah,
I have a hard time with it. So where do you think mozzarella sticks?
I'll say
Because those are fried too.
they are, but the cheese is what I'm thinking maybe is Wisconsin, Midwest area, potentially.
How long ago?
We'll say 50 years ago.
You got thoughts on mozzarella sticks?
I just feel like it's been more recent, but I always feel that way, and it's never that way. It's always like some shocking, really old date, but I feel like it's more recent, like 50s.
Or that's more than 50 years ago.
50s is more than... See, not even mathing right.
That's 73 years ago.
Is it? Oh, I forget. It's
I kind of like the
2023.
50s answer, though, better.
It feels right, but yeah, more than 50 years. So
okay,
I default on my original response.
While they all agree that bar foods are typically fried, Cheryl and Jenny went into a couple of specific fried foods with mozzarella sticks and fried pickles. So we're going to dive a little into those. Also called frickles, fried pickles is a southern specialty. I would have guessed these to have been a much more recent culinary addition to the bar menu, but it turns out that Jenny was right when she said it was the mid-1900s. The first known fried pickle recipe was printed in the Oakland Tribune on November 19, 1962, but was popularized by Burnell Fat Man Austin in 1963 at the Duchess Drive-In in Atkins, Arkansas. Originally served with ketchup, this common pub offering is now usually served with a creamy ranch dressing. As for mozzarella sticks, well, if you've listened to enough episodes of this podcast, then you know that sometimes the answer is way earlier than we thought it was. And frying cheese in batter, like mozzarella sticks, is one of those instances. It looks like this practice originated in medieval France as early as 1393. This is known to be true because a recipe for fried cheese sticks appears in a guidebook intimating a woman's proper behavior in marriage and running a household called Le Ménagerie de Paris. The book includes romantic advice, gardening tips, and recipes, such as the fried cheese. Mozzarella sticks are no doubt related to these early versions, but have an identity all their own, and they got their rise to fame in the 1970s in the United States. A cheesemaker in Wisconsin named Frank Baker is often attributed with coming up with the idea of string cheese when he dreamed up the idea of snack-sized pieces of mozzarella in 1976. Historians surmise that the explosion of mozzarella sticks at restaurants like Bennigan's, Applebee's, and TGI Fridays in the 1980s was due to the increasing availability of mass-produced mozzarella cheese and the development of new efficient frying technologies used in food-serving businesses, such as bowling alleys and sports bars. With so many of the foods we discussed being fried, I was curious about whether or not bar foods were an American thing, or if just the foods we were talking about were American.
And we think it's an American food?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
What about the buffalo wings? We also thought was an American food.
Mm-hmm.
Fried pickles we thought was the South, so also an American food?
Yes.
Okay. So are bar foods inherently American foods?
All of them are American.
Of course they are.
But certainly you go to a British pub and there's food. Is it different food?
It is different food.
It is. They have bangers and mash.
Which is?
That was the first thing I was
sausage and taters.
Okay.
That was all I had. I was going
That's
with
all I
that
had.
too.
And they have that
Scotch egg.
Yeah. What is it?
Scotch egg.
Scotch egg.
Yes. That's a good, I bet you that is a good bar food.
They serve it at the British Bulldog, so maybe.
Yeah.
So, the foods you mentioned were all fried and handheld. Do you think those are specific to American bars, or do you think they're eating the same thing in European bars, or African bars, or Asian bars?
I think it's definitely American because I think we fry everything. I don't think they fry stuff as much in other countries.
So what do you suppose you get at a bar in Italy?
Pasta.
So we're going to abandon the whole handheld thing if we go to Italy.
They just eat pasta over there. Honestly, they might eat French fries. 'Cause I feel like everywhere has a version of French fries. I know they eat a lot of bread over there too. So maybe they have their bread in their fancy oil dips that they use over there. Soak up some of that alcohol.
Gotcha.
They drink a lot of wine over there.
Okay, so what about England? They like beer.
They do. They love beer. Well, they eat fish and chips. Maybe they do eat fried food.
Yeah? So maybe they're having tater tots and chicken wings?
And they might be having some chicken wings. Dang, now I want to go over there and find out.
All right, so we've established that we eat a lot of fried food, handheld food at the bar, and nuts, which I guess is not fried, but handheld.
It can be.
Do you think it's an American thing? Like, are they eating those same foods in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, at the bar?
No, definitely not in Africa.
Maybe not. I bet chicken's like a pretty solid staple for like bar food
Everywhere?
across the world.
I can see that.
But I think even in the UK, nuts are pretty established.
Yeah, I agree. But some people eat fish. Fried fish is a big thing at cookouts.
Could be if you're weird.
I like fish and chips.
What do you? So like, if you were to go to a bar in Tokyo, what do you think you're getting at the?
Just alcohol.
Squid.
Oh, I was gonna say I think it's probably just alcohol.
They have, like, even Japan has such like unique foods for all around. I couldn't even begin to imagine like what they're.
So Americans like it fried, but that's not necessarily true everywhere.
Oh yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, but
I think they're
also
ready
it's
for
like
y'all.
with like Mexican restaurants, they give you chips. I think that's their technically bar food to start you off with.
Yeah,
'Cause
chips and
dip,
salsa.
yeah,
and-
chips and salsa. So
They're
everybody's
playing-
got their own.
They're playing like
thing.
MK Ultra mind games.
Bread is eventually just soaking all this up.
Mm-hmm.
It's all bread.
Tiffany's getting a margarita. Give her some chips.
Yeah, chips.
After looking at way too many international bar foods, I realized that much of what we talked about is specific to the culinary taste of Americans. Some other popular drinking snacks from around the world include poutine, a Canadian treat of fries, cheese curds, and brown gravy, fried plantain chips in Central and South America, as well as the Caribbean, mussels in Spain, dumplings in Japan, fried chicken in Korea, and octopus in Turkey. And yes, fish and chips in England. Well, that's it, folks. I hope you learned a little something about some of your favorite bar foods and that you can regale your friends the next time you're at happy hour with your newfound knowledge. Also, if you haven't checked out the previous episode on Happy Hour, check that one out too. It's episode 7. I'm posting the full conversation with Jenny, Cheryl, Cheyenne, Barrett, Zach, and Trent on WTWLpod.com. So be sure to visit to hear all the bits that didn't make it into the episode, as well as some other things that hit the cutting room floor. Thanks so much for joining me today, and until next time, be safe, be kind, and stay curious. The Welcome to Wonderland podcast is copyrighted by Amii Bland and is part of Big Media. This podcast is usually recorded in the podcast studio at GOT Sound Studio in Lexington, South Carolina. But as I said earlier, I wrote this episode from the struggle bus, so it was recorded in my very fancy home studio. Fine, it's a mic in my closet. That's why it doesn't sound as good as usual. Really, just go record at GOT, y'all. Any thoughts or opinions expressed as part of this production are those of the host unless otherwise indicated. Subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Please follow, like, and share this podcast. Find us on Facebook at Welcome to Wonderland the Podcast, and on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, at Wonderland_pod. Check out behind-the-scenes moments and other videos on TikTok at Wonderland Pod. And finally, check out pictures, additional information, and go further down the rabbit hole on our website at www.wtwlpod.com. To submit corrections, additional information, or requests for episodes, please email the host at welcometowonderlandthepod@gmail.com. Oh my god, I was cracking there at the end, wasn't I? Whew. Y'all probably didn't even listen. No one heard this, right? I know it sounds bad. Just give me a break, guys. The next one will be good. I promise.